Professional. And now, everyone, gather the family round the campfire. Hold that radio close and tune in on your transistor dials. The video scope is coming in clear, and it is showing Heathen Dogs, Heathen Dogma, Tabletop Gaming Fundamentals, Rifts, Chaos Earth.
Thank you, Garthon. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tabletop Gaming Fundamentals. I'm continuing with the Rifts variant because, well, you know what? Go ahead to the next slide. I could have gone to any of these. I mean, Rifts has literally a couple dozen source books, a little more maybe, and you can go anywhere on the planet. And except on the bottom right, you can go to other planets if you want the Phase World.
What's that
variant.
artist's name? Kevin Long? Long, I know is the last name.
Okay.
His art, he does some of the art for the covers. He did like the art for the, it's not on this page, but the Robotech book. Mm-hmm. I think he did Rifts Africa. His art at its best is amazing, and at its worst is really stiff. Like that Rifts Africa book is really stiff. Of course, it's covered with stiffs, so I guess that's...
Yeah, it's covered with dead guys, so what do you want?
Bum. Yeah, I guess that's supposed to be like that.
There you go. But yeah, I could have done any of these, but what Chaos Earth gives us is the answer that everyone who first read in the 90s, actually 80s, when the original Rifts came out.
It was 90s. It was
90s. You're right. Is what actually happened in the Cataclysm? How did it happen? And the Rifts book never said anything. The source books never said anything until 2003. When Chaos Earth came out.
I really must admit, I never asked what happened. I just kind of accepted it.
You just accepted it?
I just was like, cool.
You're sheeple.
I was like, Rifts, sweet, kill stuff.
Kill stuff, yeah.
It's the 90s. I'm going to listen to 9 Inch Nails.
There you go.
And I'm going to be a juicer.
Nice.
That's what happened.
That's what happens. Okay.
I wasn't, I was in high school. Yeah. Everyone's like, Nirvana's the best. They're like, oh, yeah. They're all right, sure. And they're like, oh, man, Stone Temple Pilots. I was like, no, I'm off that bus. I'm off that bus. No. I'm going to go back to listening to Iron Maiden.
What was really popular was Something Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine.
Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, you'll still find people who love them.
Yeah.
I'm not on that list.
I wasn't on that list either. Anyway, what I want you to really focus on this page is the price for the core book PDF. You can get it for $8.39.
Damn.
That's nothing.
That's an excellent price for a PDF.
It is. And if you want the physical copy, go to eBay, get it for $16.
That's so cheap, it's not worth stealing.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's market forces at work. Right
exactly. And if you want a pristine book, you can go to the Palladium website, order it from there, and get it for $21.
That's actually really good too.
Yeah. I mean, and this, it says on the cover, a complete role-playing game. It is. You don't need any of the Rifts books. You can. All the other Rifts books are plug and play, but you don't need it.
That glitter boy's not glittery enough.
Yeah, I know. I guess it's the cover.
It's more like a shiny boy.
Yeah, they want to make it all hurtful to the eyes.
Well, is it a pre-glitter boy, like an early model, maybe?
No. This is the legit glitter boy that,
supposed to have,
is in Rifts.
Like scintillating armor.
It is, but they didn't do it on the cover. I don't know why. Don't ask me why. I don't know.
Yeah. They made sure there was a flame shining up his crotch, though.
They really did. They really did that. Yeah. Well, they couldn't exactly paint it with flames to make it cooler, so they had to reflect flames to make it cooler.
Right. Yeah. Well, normally glitter boys are sparkly anyway, so it's hard to be awesome.
Yeah, and if you paint over it, you're ruining.
Yeah, it doesn't work anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't work anyway. Yeah.
I know the most dangerous thing I could think of that's glittery is D. Snyder.
Yep. I can get with that.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start off this deal with the Golden Age of Man, which was right up until 50 years before this to December 21st, 2098. Humanity was at the peak of its social, economic, and literally genetic evolution.
Sweet.
Yeah, they had genetic advancements were completely eliminating diseases.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes.
I'm against
Cancer,
those.
gone.
I'm for that.
But genetic deformities, gone.
That's good too.
All gone. Regular diseases, you get a shot, you write your DNA, boom, it's gone. It's great.
That sounds great.
Technological marvels. The flying cars. Finally got the flying cars.
Took them a while.
But finally got the flying cars. You got the man-machine interfaces. Anyone can go to whatever passes for a Radio Shack then a days, and get yourself a an implant that allows you to deep dive into any computer system.
That'll be nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
And they've perfected cold fusion, so clean, cheap, and renewable energy is everywhere.
Aw, that sounds good.
They have multiple space stations, all self-sufficient, orbiting the planet. They even have a moon base that's self-sufficient.
That's convenient.
Yeah.
And a Mars base too, apparently.
Well, that one's not self-sufficient yet. They just completed it, and it hasn't done growing the crops yet or whatever. But it's getting regular supplies. But it's scheduled to be self-sufficient within 2 years.
That sounds good.
They are 10 to 20 years away from faster than light travel, on the cusp of being a truly interplanetary species.
So they're that close to Star Trek.
That just like this. And most of the world is united in peace and free trade. I mean, 90% of the world is not at war, which...
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, which has never happened in the history of human beings. And then it all gets turned.
Crap happens.
Exactly. Armageddon, December 22nd, 2098, at or around midnight.
That'll ruin your Christmas.
Okay. It all started with 2 South American countries. They go unnamed because they don't want to name names. Just in case one of them gets powerful one day and decides to ban Palladium Books. So they are unnamed countries, but one of these countries is backed by the U.S. And the U.S., when dealing with third world countries, has a history of backing the wrong horse.
That's pretty true.
Yeah, it's true. So over the objection of the North American alliance, which is Canada, U.S., and Mexico, they've economically merged to form a North American Union type thing. The U.S. lent a dozen chromium guardsmen, which are the glitter boys of Rifts, to this South American country for self-defense purposes only. Well, the other country, which is its neighbor, saw this as an act of war because
it sure as heck seems like one.
Yeah, you can just say that and it works. So they did a full-scale invasion of the country, of the U.S. backed country. Well, the Chromium Guardsmen went into action, and they performed brilliantly. The army was routed to their border. The Chromium Guardsmen, piloted and commanded by the South American U.S. backed nation, decided, you know what? Why stop? Let's keep going. And they went.
We're on a roll. Why not?
Yeah, we're on a roll. Literally, we're rolling them back across our border. Let's roll on and follow them. Followed them into their country, causing destruction and mayhem. One of the Chromium Guardsmen was destroyed. 2 were severely damaged. The others were basically fine. And after it was all over and they pulled back across their borders, thousands of civilians and tens of thousands of military troops were killed.
Ouch.
On the invader side. But on the Chromium Guardsman side, they lost 1 dude.
That's pretty rough.
Armor was destroyed. They lost 1 guy. And of course, the U.S. backed country said, no, this was all for protection. We just wanted to secure our border, and the only way to do that was to secure what's on the other side, so suck it. Well, the loser country that attacked and had their military wiped out decided, you know what? It's time for a nuke. So they fired off a tactical nuke at the capital city of the U.S. backed country.
That's not cool.
And then in response, the U.S. backed country fired off a tactical nuke of their own at the capital of the other South American country.
That's not cool either.
Now, to explain what happens next, I have to explain what ley lines and PPE are.
All right.
Ley lines are the lines of magical energy that are the veins that magic travels around the world. All right. Now, in current times, magic is so low that these things are invisible and all but undetectable. All right. Now, PPE is personal psionic energy. This is potential psionic. It is the magical energy that all living things have, that mages who are actually trained and can use magic can tap into to power their spells. Now, PPE, when someone dies, it's temporarily doubled. So a child has a lot more potential psychic energy than an adult because they haven't trained themselves to do what they're going to do. They haven't gone through school. They haven't focused their mind on certain tasks. So their potential is much greater. All right. Animals have less PPE than humans, but they still have some. Now, when the first nuke hit, it killed millions of people. And it just so happens that that first country's capital was on a nexus point. A nexus point is where two ley lines meet, and it is generally, a source of greater power than the ley line itself.
Right.
Now, all of these millions of people, their PPE was doubled on death and absorbed into that nexus, absorbed by the ley line network. Now, the response of the attacked country was to send a nuke of their own. And it just so happens
the other country also
sits on a nexus point. Millions more died, and their PPE was doubled and pushed into the ley line network. Now, normally it can absorb this. It can handle this. Now, it's a lot. It would strain the system, but it would be fine. It's the timing that's also bad. See, ley line energy is more prevalent and powerful during certain seasonal or solar events, like say a solstice. Oops, that's then. At noon and midnight. Oops, that's also then. And say I don't know, 3 or more planets are aligned.
Guessing.
All 3 of these things were true at this moment. So the ley line energy was at that moment quadrupled.
Oh, fantastic.
Now, quadruple from something fractionally small isn't a big change. So, you couldn't really see anything different. But with the millions upon millions of PPE just dumped into the system also, the system broke. Ley line energy snapped all across the world, and it was a cascade effect, like a circuit cascade failure, just all over the world. In 3 minutes, this magical failure had ignited all of the ley lines all across the world, and this caused unnatural disasters to crop up everywhere simultaneously. Tidal waves. Within, I think it was 20 minutes, tidal waves hit every coast on the planet. If you had a loved one on the East Coast, West Coast of any country, they're dead. When I say tidal wave, I mean like comic book type tidal wave, like, greater
giant
than
Al Gore's disaster movie.
Exactly. I mean, going hundreds of miles inland on each side of the country and just wiping out everything in its wake. Now, all of these ley lines are up and cause massive tectonic shifts everywhere. Earthquakes, volcanoes, all across the world, all simultaneously.
The big Wyoming volcano goes off.
No, not yet.
What?
Wait for it.
All right.
Now, storms. Giant, magically created storms as big as Texas. Something like half a dozen of them crop up at the same time all across the world. Category 11 storms. This crap is leveling cities. It was crazy. Whatever the earthquakes and the tidal wave didn't get, the supernatural hurricanes and tornadoes are getting as well. Now, that's the first day. Let's check out day 2. December 23rd, 2098. Satellite and moon bases report over 5,000 blue lines crisscrossing the globe, 3 miles high, half a mile wide on average. Some are larger, some are smaller. But you see, the satellite and moon bases have problems of their own because this magical wave didn't stop at the Earth. It kind of blew out in a circle, in an expanding circle all around the globe from South America. When it hit the other side, it came back. And when it hit the other side again, it erupted away from the world, hitting all of the satellites, knocking half of them out, hitting all of the space stations, doing severe damage to them. It even reached the moon and caused damage to the brand spanking new moon base. Now, by the time it got to the moon base, it was nowhere near as powerful as it was close to the Earth, but still, it killed several dozen people and caused 5% of the moon base structure to collapse. But it was made, like the Titanic, only better. So everything was compartmentalized. They're fine. Great. Now, at 9:45 a.m., the Yellowstone supervolcano erupts.
Ooh, that's bad for a lot of people.
Yeah, this takes out all of the Rockies in the United States. They're gone.
Yep.
A cloud, an explosion of ash is thrust up to 20 miles into the atmosphere. In the next 6 months, global temperatures are going to drop around 30 degrees average.
Ouch.
Winter will not end the next year. It's not going to happen. Sorry.
It's bad times.
Yeah, bad times. But let's take a look at day 3.
Oh, sure, that'll get better.
Oh, yeah. December 24th. It's Christmas Eve, man. It's got to get better, right? Nope. The world is in a panic. All communications are lost. You can't communicate with the satellites. Most of them are down. The only satellites that are up are mil-spec satellites. And all the military is busy using them, trying to figure out what the hell's going on and how to stop it. Ash starts to rain down from the supervolcano explosion all across the Midwest, up to 7 feet in some areas. Now,
I've seen that.
Yes, the problem with ash is it's not like snow.
No,
it's a lot heavier. Buildings were not constructed to withstand the weight.
That's because it's essentially powdered rock.
Yeah, it's powdered rock, and you're getting 7 feet of it.
It's really smooth, though.
Yes, it's really smooth to your fingers, but it's actually microscopic shards.
Yeah.
So when you breathe it, it rips out your lungs and the insides, and you die.
Yeah, it's like talcum powder.
Yeah, it's not great. But buildings start to collapse. Whatever the storms didn't get, whatever the earthquakes didn't get, whatever the tidal waves didn't get, catastrophic building collapse from ash on the roof.
I just wanted to add,
takes care of the rest.
I was actually a child in Washington State when Mount St. Helens blew up.
That's not great.
No, but I remember the ash falling from the sky and everything. I was there for all that.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's so real to me, man. It took me back.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Flashback.
Back to the bush.
Now, as of this moment, as of day 3, a third of the world is dead. Now, here's another problem. These ley lines are super active. The volcanoes, the storms, and the tidal waves and the earthquakes, they're killing more people and animals every second, which is filling the ley lines even more, making sure this thing doesn't stop.
That's wonderful.
It's great. There is no end in sight because people keep dying.
Once everyone dies, it'll end, I guess. Not the best result.
No, not the best result. In the next 6 months, it is the moon base has a artificial intelligence supercomputer on it, and it predicts that 30-40% of the people that are left on the planet will be dead in that time.
No reason to doubt it.
Not a good prediction. No reason to doubt it. Exactly. And let's take a look. It keeps on coming. That's right. Now we jump a little bit to day 10, New Year's Eve. Christmas was not fun.
I'm guessing not.
No. New Year's Eve. Now, sporadic earthquakes continue. All right. Most of the ley line activity has calmed down quite a bit because there's not enough people to kill anymore. But these sporadic earthquakes technically are aftershocks, but they have the strength of normal earthquakes. So
still
no one's
very bad.
Yeah, so no one's calling them aftershocks. The superstorms are still ravaging the earth. All right, still, and several of them have joined together across the water, gain strength, and then when they hit land, they rip apart everything. Siberia, Russia, most of Russia, lots of Europe, just ripped apart by these storms. One superstorm sticks on top of the world in the Arctic and just gains strength for some reason, gaining, and causing an 80-degree drop in temperatures across the northern 25% of the globe. So everyone up there is just dead.
That's really bad.
Yeah, they're just dead. Okay, now, like I said, there's no communications. Satellite communication is now impossible because the ash has covered 99.8% of the globe in a reflective cloud. So whatever communication with satellites you had is now gone. The satellite, the satellite bases and moon base just have to watch as the world basically disappears.
No, not much they can do about it.
No, there's nothing they can do about it. It's gone. They have no communication. They can't see anything anymore. It's just gone.
Sounds like a good time to be living on the moon.
Exactly. Mass hysteria obviously reigns. I mean, there are a few communities in the Midwest that the Midwest is tectonically stable, so they didn't get a lot of earthquake activity. Is far from the coast of either side of the country, so the tidal waves never touch them. And even magically powered storms lose a lot of their oomph the more they go inland, just like regular storms. So they weren't hit with the worst.
And they're not in Wyoming, so they didn't all die.
Exactly. Wyoming, some parts of Colorado, Nevada, Utah, they're all gone. They're just holes. They're just holes in the ground. And whoever survived there died days ago because the ash in that area is 15 feet deep. They're dead.
Yes, they're all dead anyway.
They're all dead. And they couldn't be rescued because any aircraft trying to go in there gets their engines clogged and they crash and die. So, yeah, they're just gone.
There's that.
Yeah. Now, during this almost 2-week period, the military and government was getting sporadic reports of demons and monsters coming out of these blue lines, especially where they intersect and form nexus points. But no one took it seriously because everyone's dying everywhere. You might as well call it a demon if you want to. It's just the end of the world. Well, 10 days out, the unnatural disaster started to come down, but these reports of these demons started actually rising. Now, what they found out was things were coming out of these blue lines. Holes to seemingly other places were opening up and closing at random wherever there's a blue line. Now, in Rifts proper, this is 250, 300 years from now is when Rifts takes place.
Right.
Only Rifts can open only on nexus points. But here, the magic is more powerful.
Right, in this world.
At this time, the Rifts are so powerful that they can open at any point along any line, anywhere in the world. So demon reports keep flooding in, and now the government and the military are taking them serious, especially in high ley line activity places in the U.S. like St. Louis and Detroit and Windsor, where pretty much it's a demon playground. Everyone's dead there.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, they killed everybody. In fact, the St. Louis Arch is a permanent rift. It stays open all the time.
That's kind of cool.
Yes. The only thing, it's permanent here, but every so often it shifts destination. So one hellish dimension after the other just keeps open the door to us, which is awesome. Thanks a lot, St. Louis. Yeah, whoever constructed that was the same guy that wanted Zool.
I was just thinking, it's built with iron with a selenium core. Well, they don't make them like they used to.
They don't make it like that ever.
No,
Exactly.
they never made them like this.
All right, now, who's to the rescue? NEMA's to the rescue. NEMA, Northern Eagle Military Alliance.
Yay!
This organization, it's a paramilitary organization created at the beginning of the Golden Age. Some scholars of the time say it prompted the creation of the Golden Age, because this was like a Northern American union that worked. The reason being is because you can't have free trade and economic non-disparity from three completely different countries without giving over police powers to an entity that serves all of North America rather than just a part of it. And that's what NEMA did. Exactly. They were the symbol of North America United. They handled any crime, any subversive elements, any disasters that crossed country lines. It was their purview. Everything to deal with North America as a whole was their purview and their purview alone. Any terrorist attack or terrorist attempted attack, they guard the borders of North America. That's what they do. And they are the best suited to help because, number one, they're a paramilitary organization, and they made sure to have members from all of the three participating countries in almost equal measure. So, and they're all volunteers. So desertion among them is very, very low. And they're trained in disaster recovery and crisis management on a larger scale than most militaries because they have to police a whole continent rather than just a country within it.
All right.
So all of their plans have much greater scope, and this disaster is the greatest scope possible. So they have to revise the numbers a bit, obviously, but they still have the most trained people for the job and the most equipment to do the most good. And of course, it's newer. It's less than 40-year-old organization, so it has the new car smell. So it attracted the best and brightest of all three countries. So you have the most well funded, the most current technologically, the smartest people, and the best plan. Well, there you go, NEMA to the rescue, and they're the only ones who can. All right, now what are they looking at? They're looking at where do they go? I mean, where do you make a stand in a world that's actively trying to kill you? Well, there was one NEMA group based in Atlanta, Georgia, and Atlanta, Georgia is burning. It's a death trap. Again, right. So the Midwest general commander in the area, Lieutenant General Sawyer, decided to take her troops inland to where the least damage was.
Smart move.
So the center of the Midwest, as far as you can get away from the coast, but close to fresh water. So she decided on northern Ohio.
Makes sense.
It's close enough to the Great Lakes to get a water source. It was tectonically stable, didn't hit by any storms, any huge storms. So the infrastructure will be all but intact, and it would have the most survivors. So that's where she can do the most good.
Right.
Maggie Sawyer, that's her name. And so she moves her troops there. And it's far enough away from St. Louis and Detroit to be safe geographically from those demon reports. She has the most reports, by the way, because there were NEMA troops that tried to stabilize Detroit and St. Louis, and they haven't been heard from again.
Well, that's not good.
After all the screaming on the comms, and they went out. Dear God, what is that thing? And then dead. So that didn't work out for them. So the rub. Yes, the infrastructure is good. It wasn't hit that bad. The earthquakes were relatively minor, but the Ohio Valley has lots of those pesky blue lines, which means lots of demons. Now, at this point, she does not have all the information necessary to make a properly educated decision on where to go. She sees the blue lines as an unknown when she should see the blue lines as a death trap.
Right.
But she doesn't have that information yet, so she's moving her people. And she loses 10% of her troops and 30% of the civilians she's trying to protect to demons coming in and out of these blue lines as she's crossing the country trying to get to northern Ohio. So she gets a crash course on what the blue lines are on the way there. And the problem is there's a bunch of blue lines, not as much, but a bunch of blue lines in northern Ohio as well. So she's going to have to deal with that. But we're not going to deal with it because that's in the book. Now,
right.
Let's talk about you as a player character. Now, you get to be the hero. You get to be a NEMA troop. You get to be either a grunt, an officer, a colonel, whatever. Whatever your game master decides what campaign they want. Has the same basic structure as Rifts. You got OCCs, you have MDC type stuff, and you have energy weapons and power armor. Same thing as Rifts, just the same. Now, what's different is that this is not the time of Rifts. This was the Golden Age. So these guys have more skills. They had more learning crammed into a smaller space of time. So they gave MOS, which is
they had actual proper schools.
Yes, they had proper universities and proper training, and NEMA was a military organization, so you get MOSs, which is
military occupation specialty.
Occupation, yes, specialty. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So you get your primary OCC, related OCC, and secondary skills. You also get MOS skills, depending on what career path you went on. The military gave you extra training in that career path. Great.
Sounds
You're
good.
skilled up the wazoo. That's awesome. And you get to be genetically enhanced.
That's
because
nice.
This is in this generation of people at the end of the Golden Age, 70% of them were genetically enhanced before they were born. There's a list. You get to choose or roll. It's the player's choice. So you could be very, very pretty, very, very smart, very, very strong, or a mixture of smart and strong, smart and pretty, or just strong and strong. You can do that too. Massive bonuses to physical strength and physical endurance. You could do any of that if you wanted to, but you get to choose, or you can roll randomly if you like that.
That's neat. It's a good idea.
Now, what are the OCCs? Well, here they go. Here's a list of everything you can be in the Chaos Rifts, Chaos Earth world. You can be a Chromium Guardsman or a Silver Eagle pilot. The Chromium Guardsmen survive throughout the next 250, 300 years and become Glitter Boys. The name is the original name is lost, but they're glittery and they're boys, so they're Glitter Boys. Silver Eagle pilot, he's on the top left. Later on, the coalition finds their specs and is able to recreate them, and they're Samus.
All right.
Part of the coalition. You can be an armored sentinel, which is a generic power armor or robot pilot. Soldier, peacekeeper, which is on the very bottom of the screen. You see them on the next to a robot. Field engineer, which is great because you want a field engineer just in case your power armor goes out or gets damaged.
Someone needs to fix it.
Exactly. You want the field engineer one, so it's an excellent support character. Fire and rescue, which is on the top right. They got a lot of work. A lot of work.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so if you want to be, if your GM decides that, no, you guys are Fire Station 71 and you're all firemen, you can do that. You'll be fire and rescue, and you get power armor and you get cool axes like that. And
you look like Cobra Commander.
Yeah, you can look like Cobra Commander, only be a good guy. You can do that. You could also be a NEMA spy, a NEMA commando. You can be a NEMA militia volunteer because, hey, what's in the world, we'll take who we can get. They'll give you some nominal training and slap a badge on you, and now you got to protect the people. And a new NEMA OCC is para arcane. These are people who specialize in discovering what kills these demons most effectively and how to do it. And come to find out that ancient text was correct. I mean, what looks like a Balrog reacts to the weaknesses of what lore says a Balrog is weak to, like cold iron or silver, or some of them sunlight, some of them don't function well in darkness, some of them are repelled by crosses or
running water.
Wolfsbane or running water. All that stuff works. You just have to know which demon to use which tool to which demon, and that's the para arcane's job. He's embedded in every squad of NEMA personnel that are deployed, so he can point out, okay, these are demon type A7B, and everyone load up their silver ammo, or everyone load their wood flechettes or whatever. Yeah, it's their job to figure out what works to what demon to keep everyone alive. And then there's a special one. This is the only non-NEMA OCC that you can be. You can be a demon or witch hunter. Now these are civilians who had their friends and family murdered by demons and decided, you know what, end of the world's coming. I'm going to go down swinging.
I'm going full Van Helsing on these people.
Exactly, full Van Helsing, and they just go off and kill all the demons they can find. If your GM wants to make a campaign like that, he can do that too.
No, all right, fair enough.
That's great.
That is great.
Now, as we look at our end slide and we're thinking about the end of the world, I want you to think about the future. Now, for the next 250 years, the world is in the new Dark Ages. All right, civilization does not prosper until the PA1, or the post-apocalyptic calendar, begins about 250 or 300 years later, and the coalition rises as dominant force in North America.
All right.
Coalition rises in northern Ohio. This is not a coincidence.
Yes.
NEMA, who in Chaos Earth is very open-minded, very, very democratic, very gung-ho, we love kind and generous and helping people, all that. During this time turns into the fascist dictator state that is the coalition.
Yeah, it takes a few bad actors, and there you go.
There you go. Yeah, exactly.
A couple speeches at the brew houses, and you're screwed.
It's sad. It's sad because you read the leader of NEMA, the highest ranking officer is Lieutenant General Sawyer, and she is tough but fair. She's kind. She actually promotes the idea that not all things that come out of the rifts are bad. If it doesn't try and eat you or melt your brain or shoot you, don't shoot first. See if it can talk.
See if it wants a friend.
Exactly. We could use more of those.
That's true. That's a reasonable thing to do.
Exactly. But her teachings are completely lost by the time Rifts proper comes around.
Aww.
And NEMA becomes the evil coalition state, which is sad.
That is sad.
And that's it. That is Rifts Chaos Earth. If you have another Palladium system you want me to review, go ahead and throw it in the chat. If you're watching this YouTube, throw it in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will go ahead and review that. The only Rifts game I have not played and or game mastered is Beyond the Supernatural. But I have all the books. I have read them. I will be able to do somewhat of an intelligent review of it. So don't fret.
I've played Beyond the Supernatural.
Hey.
It's fun. Actually, of the various Rift settings, I never would have thought to actually make this a setting. So that's actually really interesting. It actually sounds interesting to play in. Because I always just considered it a transitory period. Like, oh, who cares? Let's get to the good stuff. But there's good stuff there too. So this sounds really neat. Thank you, Heathen Dog.
You're welcome.
And as always, you get more Heathen Dogma. Check him out on YouTube, his anime and RPG segments, his team-ups with Garthon, that's me, in Warframe and Star Trek Online. You can watch them as they stream or on YouTube. Check out his past streams of all the awesome things he has done. They are fun. They're entertaining. Watch him cry.
Oh, that only happened one time in Star Trek Online. Only happened one time.
Watch him rage quit the universe.
I did that, yeah. I was crying too. It was also so very sad to my soul.
It was so very sad. You could watch him be destroyed. Watch his love of AAA be destroyed as he teams up with me.
Oh, we were awful. We were a bad team.
We were a bad team. That's what it goes down to. And you can watch him stream Overlord on Mondays at 8 p.m. Central, 9 Eastern. That's always entertaining.
It's a fun game.
It is a fun game. Thank you very much, Heathen Dog.
You are welcome.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time.
パーソンの